Hey everybody, Phil Town here. In this week's Rule Number 1 investing video, I'm sharing a bit about my thoughts on the airline industry, specifically on how Rule 1 investors approach the airline industry based on recent events and what the experts say. So keep watching for more. So what do we think about if you're a value investor and you're really passionate about travel, and particularly air travel? It doesn't take long to figure out that the important things in airline travel are the gates that they've got. Whoever controls the gates, controls the airport, controls the routes, and the prices that they charge. How do they charge prices, right? How does Southwest charge what it charges versus Delta charging what it's charging? And why would you choose one of these things over another? So if you're into travel, you've already got a good start on these industries. For this year, you know, these industries, as I'm sure are real well aware, they're coming out of more than just a depression, right? They're coming out of disaster where they're virtually shut down by the federal government against their will, right? And they were just told they can't fly and people can't fly on you. And as a result, they all incurred a tremendous amount of debt. So if we're looking at the airline industry, one of the first things that I think about, airline industry or any other industry, when I'm looking at buying a company, is how can I lose on this investment? Charlie Munger calls this the inversion process, which is the most important thing you can do. He said, you're looking at a problem, what you want to do is you want to put yourself in the shoes of the person that says, this is going to fail. So if you said, how would I make an airline fail? Then you want to go right there. You want to say, how would I make an airline fail? Well, it's easy. You stack up a pile of debt, huge pile. And then another recession comes along and you can't make the payments. What happens then, as you try to renew the debt, is the banks come in and say, well, the new interest rate isn't 3% anymore, it's 9%. So now you just borrow the same amount of money, you're paying 3 times more to hold on to it. All of a sudden you've got this big pile of debt. Here's something you need to know about public companies. The management teams there, you get to find out how much integrity they have when they get in trouble, right? Integrity is demonstrated under adversity. It's not what you say it is, it's what you do when chips are down, right? That's what you do. And what we see that happens regularly is these mercenary guys who run these companies, they'll just take it into bankruptcy and they'll restructure the debt. It sounds simple enough. All right, we're gonna go and restructure the debt. Except in the process, they wipe you out as a shareholder. You're gone. They take every cent you put into that company and it is lost because they've restructured the debt. A lot of people don't realize that. So when you look at the airlines today, what you're looking at is a pile of debt-loaded companies that are got to pay off that debt. Now, they're charging a fortune to go fly. I'm sure you've noticed that as well, right? Because there's fewer and fewer competitors out there after this last huge recession. And the question is going to be, can they get the debt paid down before the next recession comes along, before the next pandemic comes along, or whatever happens that shuts down that industry? So for you guys and for me, where we want to be extremely risk averse, we don't want to be involved with businesses that have this problem that could force them to get rid of us as owners of the business. So I would be very, very careful. No matter how good it looks, no matter how much money they're making, be very careful with stepping into that kind of an industry. In fact, any kind of an industry where there's a lot of debt. I mean, if you're looking at airlines, then you should look perhaps at Boeing, right? I mean, these guys make airplanes and the airlines need airplanes. But Boeing has $60 billion of debt. They went from 8 to 10 billion, which is a reasonable amount of debt for the company to carry, to $60 billion of debt. And they haven't started paying it down yet, even though they said they would. So there's another really important company. It's almost a monopoly. You'd think it'd be a perfect thing to own, and yet here's this monster killer bomb that's got a fuse lit, and we may not want to go in and own that business. So that's kind of how we're thinking about that industry right now. Maybe in the future, it'll be less dangerous. Maybe it's getting less dangerous by the day. Maybe in 3 months, I'll end up owning Delta. I don't know. But right now, it looks that way to me. Thanks for watching this week's video. Hopefully this was insightful for you on your own investing journey. And stay tuned next week for more investing education tips. And tune into our other social media platforms for daily content. That stuff's awesome.